My presentation is on gambling, specifically the effect of a big win and near misses. As I began my research, I wanted to focus on the big win and financial ruins and everything revolving around that, but I found so many studies on the near miss, and I found that a little more interesting, and I thought you would too. So my presentation is titled Near Misses and Big Wins in Relation to the Causes of Compulsive Gambling. There's 4 phases of gambling: the winning phase, losing, desperation, and hopelessness. During the winning phase, obviously that's when you're winning. It usually starts with a big win. There's a lot of excitement, positive view. You may feel like you have a special talent for it and that the winning will continue. During the losing phase, you become preoccupied. You start to gamble alone, borrow money, skip work, maybe lie, default on loans. It's what's called chasing losses. The desperation stage, you start to lose control. There's a lot of guilt and shame involved, and you may cheat and steal. That's usually the stage when there's divorce or arrest. Then it moves on to the hopelessness stage. At that point, the compulsive gambler may start to abuse drugs or alcohol, and even consider suicide. The suicide rate is actually high for compulsive gamblers that get to that stage. There's different causes of compulsive gambling. Genetics can play a part. A compulsive personality can play a part. Childhood traumas, and also dopamine can play a part. In fact, there was a study done where patients taking medication for Parkinson's disease who had no prior issues with gambling started to gamble compulsively due to the medication. There was also a study done showing how gambling affects the dopamine in the brain. Gambling results, obviously there's the win and the loss. But the near win and the near loss is something I hadn't considered. Maybe you haven't either if you've ever done any kind of gambling. The near win, obviously when you're this close to winning, and that can even be with a scratch-off ticket. You know, you feel that excitement, or a horse race, or it doesn't have to be gambling in the casino. There's many different kinds. Or when you're very close to winning the football pool. A near loss is... I guess one example would be if you're spinning the wheel and you almost land on a bankrupt. You may think that, hey, I'm lucky I didn't lose, so you continue to gamble. Persistence. Persistence is really the major part of the compulsive gambler's addiction, because it's the part that makes you continue. You may have an altered perspective on control, thinking that you actually have control over the game, even though it's a game of chance and it's random. There may be a perception of skill or an illusion of luck. Perception of skill was interesting, and if you see the little animation, it compares like on the football field or some type of game where you can actually improve your skill, and even a near loss you can improve upon the next time. Whereas the game of chance, when you're playing at a casino or playing the horse races or whatever the case may be, you don't have that control, but the compulsive gambler believes that they do. Physiological effects. There was a study done where the participants had their heart rate, blood pressure, and electrodermal activity monitored while playing a game with 6 icons, 2 in a row across. During this study, it was found that these increased during the near-win experience rather than the loss or the win experience, further proving that there are physiological effects for the near-win. Physical effects, and you may have experienced this if you've ever been to a casino or been to the horse races, there's a lot of verbalization, especially with a near miss. You get more and more excited. There's a stronger arm movement, maybe in spinning a wheel or rolling the dice, and there's always flashing lights, bells, and sounds, a lot of noise in those types of places. And that also gives the feeling that you're in control. In another study, the big win concept was questioned. There was a group, 4 groups of players. The first group had a first play win, the second group a 5th play win, the third group 2 small wins, and the fourth group no win at all. As you can see from the chart that's included, it was actually the 5th play win that increased persistence, and during the time of extinction there was longer play. Extinction is the time that you play without a win. So it was interesting to see, and it definitely questioned the big win concept. The definition of the near miss is a special kind of failure to reach a goal, one that comes close to being successful. They found in another study that there's an optimal percentage for persistence, and it was actually 30%. Those with 15% and 45% stopped earlier than the 30%, so they do think there's an optimal percentage at which the compulsive gambler will continue. There are several factors with compulsive gambling. Random selection or personal choice. Basically, it means, for instance, if you're buying a Powerball ticket and you just get the random numbers, or you make your own picks of the numbers. They found that people involved in this study thought they had more control with the personal choice, and therefore continued with the persistence of the gambling. Another aspect is a downward counterfactual and an upward. What this means with a downward, it basically means on a near win, the person feels like they were this close and it begins to feel like they have no luck. The upward counterfactual is when a person just misses like a bankrupt and they feel like they have a lot of luck in missing that. These can create an illusion of control through luck rather than skill. So the results of my research paper, based on the study's research, the near-miss experience could definitely be another cause for compulsive gambling. Some of the setbacks or the drawbacks of these studies, participants were not compulsive gamblers, and they really did not have a monetary risk. They were given a certain amount, and it was a low amount. It was kind of like playing with play money. So you could get very different results if someone actually had a financial risk. And the other risk factors could also be accounted into it. There could be a genetic factor or a compulsive personality. But I do think, based on the research and the results, that the near miss experience could be a factor much more so than even a big win.